You have 200 contacts in your phone. 50 people you call friends. 10 you'd say are close. Here's a test. It's 2 in the morning. You're stranded 40 miles from home. Car dead. Phone dying. No rideshare available. Who do you call? More importantly, who actually picks up? Sarah Martinez found out the hard way, and the answer changed everything. October 6th, Friday night. Sarah's at a work party in the suburbs. One of those mandatory networking things where everyone pretends they're having fun. She's been there 2 hours. That's her limit. Around 10:30, she tells her co-worker Jessica she's heading out. Already? Come on, one more drink. Sarah shakes her head. Nah, early morning tomorrow. Yoga class. That's a lie. She just wants to go home, put on sweats, and watch something mindless on Netflix. Jessica doesn't push it. All right, text me when you get home safe. Sarah nods, grabs her coat, heads to the parking lot. That's when things go sideways. Her car won't start. Just this sad, clicking noise. Battery's completely dead. She tries 3 times. Nothing. Checks her phone. 12% battery. No jumper cables in the trunk. She looks around. Parking lot's basically empty. Everyone's still inside. And honestly, she doesn't want to go back in there and make it a whole thing. So she pulls out her phone, opens her contacts, scrolls. 200 names. She starts with the obvious ones, her close friends. First call, Emma. Rings 4 times, goes to voicemail. Second call, Marcus. Voicemail. Third, Jen. Straight to voicemail. Her phone's at 9% now. She keeps scrolling. Calls people she's known for years. College roommates, former co-workers. That guy from her running group she always says hi to. Voicemail. 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 8%. Then she tries her cousin, Amy. They grew up together, used to be super close. Amy picks up. Hey, what's up? Sarah explains the situation. Oh man, that sucks. Where are you? About 40 miles north. I know it's late, but... 40 miles? Sarah, I'm literally about to go to bed. Can't you just call an Uber? I tried. Nothing's available out here. Silence on the other end. I mean, I would, but I've been drinking. Can't drive. Maybe try roadside assistance? Yeah, okay, no worries. Sorry, text me tomorrow. Sarah sits there in her dead car, phone at 6%. She's called 14 people. Not one showed up. 5% battery. Sarah's running out of options. She scrolls all the way to the bottom of her contacts. People she hasn't talked to in months, maybe years. Then she sees it. Nina. They used to work together 3 years ago. Stayed in touch for a bit after Nina switched jobs, but honestly, they haven't hung out in forever. Maybe a birthday text here and there. Sarah almost scrolls past, but her phone's about to die, so she hits call. Nina picks up on the second ring. Sarah, hey, everything okay? Yeah, kind of a weird situation. Sarah explains. Dead battery, stranded, nobody available. She's already bracing for the polite no, but Nina just says, where are you? Send me the address. Wait, really? It's like 40 miles? I know, I'm leaving now. Be there in like 45 minutes. Sarah's stunned. Are you sure? I mean, it's almost midnight. Sarah, send me the address. 42 minutes later, Nina pulls into the parking lot. She's got jumper cables, a phone charger, and a bottle of water. You good? Nina asks, handing her the water. Sarah just stares at her. You drove 40 miles at midnight on a Friday. Nina shrugs. Yeah, you needed help. They get the car started. Sarah's still kind of in shock. I don't even know what to say. Thank you doesn't feel like enough. Nina smiles. You'd do the same for me. And here's the thing. Sarah's not sure she would have. 2 weeks later, Sarah's having coffee with Emma. one of the friends you didn't pick up that night. Emma's talking about some drama at work, and Sarah's only half listening. Eventually, Emma notices. "You okay? You seem off." Sarah hesitates, then just goes for it. "Remember a couple weeks ago, when my car died?" "Oh yeah, that sucked. Did you get it fixed?" "Yeah, but I called you that night. You didn't pick up." Emma blinks. "Oh, I probably fell asleep early. Why, did you need something?" "I was stranded, needed a ride." Emma's face shifts. "Oh my God, Sarah. I'm so sorry. I didn't know it was urgent. You should have texted or something." Sarah nods slowly. "Yeah, maybe," but it sits with her. The next week, she's scrolling Instagram. Sees a post from Marcus, one of the other people who didn't answer. He's at some bar with a group of people. Posted at 11 p.m. Same night Sarah was stranded. Not asleep, just didn't pick up. She's not mad. She's just aware now of something she'd been ignoring for a long time. Most of her friendships were surface level. Fun at brunch, great for birthday parties, perfect for weekend plans. But when it actually mattered, crickets. Except Nina, who she barely kept in touch with, who drove 40 miles without hesitation. Here's what Sarah figured out. There's a difference between proximity friends and crisis friends. Proximity friends are the people you see all the time. Co-workers, gym buddies, the crew you always grab drinks with. You think you're close because you're around each other a lot, but proximity isn't the same as depth. Crisis friends are different. They're not always the loudest or the most available, but when things fall apart, they show up. Not because it's convenient, because it matters. Sarah had 200 contacts, 50 friends, 10 close ones. Turns out, she had one crisis friend, and it wasn't any of the people she thought. After that night, Sarah started paying attention differently, not to who was fun to be around, but to who was there when it wasn't fun. She stopped pouring energy into friendships that only worked one way. Started investing in the people who'd already proven they'd show up. 6 months later, her circle's way smaller. But it's real. Nina and Sarah grab coffee now, every couple weeks. It's not glamorous. Just two people who know they can count on each other. Last month, Nina's mom got sick. Sarah drove 3 hours to sit with her at the hospital. Nina didn't even have to ask. The 48-hour friend test isn't actually about 48 hours. It's about this. When things go wrong, who moves toward you instead of away? Sarah thought she had 50 friends. Turns out, she had one. But one real friend? That's more than most people ever get. Stay aware. Stay present. Stay alive.